Okay, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Good. We get the pin in. We've got congratulations in the back row.
Thank you. Very exciting.
New grandbaby, right?
Yep.
And how old?
3 days now.
3
It's born
days
on
old.
Saturday, yeah.
So we'll see some pictures in a little
Oh,
bit.
yes, you will.
I'm sure we'll see some pictures in a little bit. Yeah.
He's like, oh God, it's Ellen again. Baby pictures. Today I was taking pictures of my 5-year-old. I'm like, I need a person. Come over.
Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over what we're going to be doing tonight. First thing is the quiz we'll be doing in just a second, but I wanted to go over the homework first and the schedule for this week. Okay, so tonight we're just going to be going over a couple things, and a lot of this is resource stuff for you to have, kind of helps for you. The first is this beginner card .pdf, this beginner card booklet version 1. Let me show you what those look like. You click on the first one, the beginner card .pdf. You don't have to right now. I have it on the overhead for us to look at. Basically, what this is going to do is basically open up a beginner card with information, terms, basically terminology, flashcard terminology. It's a really good tool to have because it goes over in detail fairly, but in layman's terms, sorry about that. In layman's terms, terminology as it goes to digital photography. And this is that first one, that beginner card. And so it's a multi-page document for your use to, just peruse through it, look at terminologies. Like the first one here goes over ISO and some of the ranges for ISO, and we're actually doing ISO this week. So it's just some helpful terminology, helpful for you. The second is the beginner card. The second link, it's a little longer one, and actually this one is set vertically on its side. But again, none of these you don't have to print any of these out. You can put them on your computer if you want to, or on any type of tablet device. So that's the first two: beginner card and beginner card booklet version 1A. Then the 4 settings.pdf we will do. We will actually do that one in class on Thursday. I don't want to rush you because you're going to have a quiz to do, and we're going to go over some notes. So we'll do that in class on Thursday. The settings one before I let you guys go and do your assignment. I think we'll do it on Thursday. The ISO take home. Technically, you don't need to start this one till Thursday, but we will go over it tonight if you wanted to kind of begin thinking about it. It'd be a good idea. And as always, you can do these in your groups. So on Thursday, when you guys come to class, what we'll do is we'll do the in-class settings lab, which shouldn't take too long, and then let you go on the go over the ISO photo settings one again, and then let you go in your groups as always on Thursday. Okay. The create contact sheet. This one is just, again, as the first couple ones on the screen are for your purpose only right now, to kind of get aware of it before anything's due. And it's how to create a contact sheet. All right. In that folder for creating a contact sheet, there is a couple of 3 links actually. The one I recommend is the one on how to create using contact sheet using Picasa. Remember, Picasa is the free software I've asked you guys to download at home and to use on your Mac or PC. This is the steps to create a contact sheet, which is basically a sheet with a thumbnail of all of your pictures you've taken in whatever session it is that you've taken it in on one sheet. So if it's 30 images, You create a contact sheet of 30 images. You don't have to print these out, which I never do anymore. I just save the contact sheets in a folder of all my images, and I open up the contact sheet and I can see from a snapshot every image that's in that folder. And so it's a nice tool to use. So again, this is for practice only. I'm not asking you for a grade this week on this for contact sheet, but you will be doing it. So it's something for you to kind of play with this week before something is due. Does that make sense? Now I do give you the directions. In the directions, I believe I give you in there, I'm not going to open it up. I do give you directions for how to do a contact sheet using iPhoto and Photoshop, but most of you don't have either one of those at home, so I recommend the Picasso one, which is the link in there as well. Okay? Questions so far? So again, most of the stuff we went over thus far tonight is just resource stuff. The PDF booklets that have terminology, the Picasso contact sheet, and then the digital photography terms we'll go over in just a second, which is just matching. The cheat sheet camera bag version, I'm not going to open that one up, but that's a PDF as well that has a whole bunch of terminology, settings, how to do this, how to do that. It's a good cheat sheet for you to have in your camera bag, which everybody either has your camera bag with you all the time anyway, so you just stick it in there. This one I would recommend printing that one out, unless you always have your phone with you, which most of you do. You can port it to your phone and open up a PDF file there as well. And then the critique for week 3 photos we'll do after the quiz. It's really simple. Let me go ahead and open that up to show you what we're going to do before we do it. What I'd like to do is go right from the quiz into the critique, and then I'm going to have some notes I'm going to go over for ISO, and then we'll be done. So what you're going to do for this one is, last week you were assigned to do a set of photos on contrast, okay, using ISO and white balance. What you're going to do is pick one of those photos, the best photo you want out of the photos you've taken. You'll copy the URL. You'll paste it below in the submission, in the below area to submit. That's the first line, is to paste the URL of the picture. Then you'll answer the following questions about that photo. And I'm going to give you an example of this in just a second. Does your photo have good composition? Like the position of objects? Does it follow the rule of thirds we've talked about? Does your photo have good depth of field? Is there any depth there might not be? And remember, depth of field is where you can actually see depth in that picture. So something here and something there. Generally on depth, you have to deal generally a little bit with blurriness. Because if you have any depth, you have some blurriness. So if this is a picture of a kid and a tree, the tree could be a little blurry and the kid will be real clear. Okay? Does your photo have good exposure, good lighting? Does your photo have technical problems? So that's spots, pixelization, maybe a whole bunch of, maybe an area of your photo got a lot of sun or something. How does this photo make you feel? So here's an example. Here's the URL. This is what you'll actually post. So you put your name in the title, you post the URL to your photo, and you'll basically just copy and paste these questions into the bottom area. Does your photo have good composition? Position of objects, rule of thirds? Yes. I place the object in the upper right corner, upper right intersection. Number 2, does your photo have depth of field? Is there any depth? No, it's pretty one-dimensional. So just be honest. If it is, it is. Okay? Does your photo have good exposure lighting? The light was bright, and I try to make better with lowering the ISO. Again, just be honest with whatever your assessment is. Does your photo have technical problems, spots, pixelization? Yes. It was whitewashed. It was washed out. There was a whitewashed area at the bottom right due to the sunspot. Number 5, how does this photo make you feel? Overall, I like this photo. So that's an example of what feedback you can have for your photo. Make sense? And then once you're finished with that, you'll just submit below. So in the title, you'll put your name. Below, you put all this information here, and I'll give you the example to help you. Questions on that? Okay? So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the quiz first. I'm going to have you do the critique second. And thirdly, we're going to talk about ISO tonight and what the take-home is going to be for this Thursday. All right? So let's go to the quiz here real quick first. I'll show you what it looks like, and then you guys can go forth. Hopefully, while I've been talking, you've been looking at your notes, kind of going over. I blabbed long enough here to study a few minutes, maybe. Here's what it will look like. Let me show you that real quick. All right, here's the actual quiz, what it's going to look like. It's got your terms up here at the top, A through L, and then you just select the correct letter. And like I told you this last week, answer the ones you know first. Get them done, out of the way. You know, boom, like that, easy. Then go back to second sweep to, get rid of, what do they call it, something. Where you basically get rid of, you have two left, and I don't know what that's called. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So first sweep, do the best guess. First sweep, second sweep, finish up with what's left. There's no trick questions on this one. And then submit it. As soon as you've submitted your quiz, go right into the critique. When I see everybody's done with your critique, we'll go into the ISO notes for tonight. Any questions? Okay, go ahead and put your notes away if you have any open. And packing and stuff later. Okay, I want to focus on ISO. ISO, and I've drew it on the board already. It's the light sensitivity of the sensor. Most digital cameras allow you to set the ISO. And right now, let's stop for just a second to make sure everybody again knows where your ISO is. You're going to be using it a lot. And basically what you're going to do with that ISO while you're looking at it here is you're going to either increase it or decrease it. If you increase it, it gives you more control over the shutter speed or aperture. The higher ISO also means less light needs to reach the sensor. It allows for faster shutter speed and more narrow aperture. In red, it says here, be able to vary the ISO from picture to picture is a major advantage of a digital camera. In film, you couldn't do that, but with digital, you guys can do that. And so that's one of the major benefits of digital. ISO, as always, there are trade-offs for ISO, and you probably found that out last week. High ISO leads to a lot of noise. What high ISO is going to do, for example, on this diagram I drew, let's say that the colors did not go as high as I drew here. Say they went down even lower. Okay, the lower they go and the lower you have to draw that imaginary line to bring the ISO down to where, to make it kind of fake out the light, the more degradation you'll get for that image. Okay, the more degradation, the more ISO you have to add. Generally, the best is to use your camera's lowest ISO possible. And so you always start out with the very lowest ISO possible, work your way up, okay? You can always increase it. And the nice thing about digital, if you don't like an image, you can delete it. So start at your lowest first, work your way up. Then it says here probably ISO 100 or 200 is good to start with. Use a higher ISO only if necessary for low light and high shutter speeds. A tripod for shutter speeds are preferable to high ISO. Okay, because if you have a high ISO, you're going to have slower shutter speed. You're not going to do this assignment here, by the way. So let me exit out of that. I want to go to the next part here. Okay. Which is the take home. Here we go, real quick, and then we're done. Take home for this week, ISO take home. Not real hard. I did try to highlight things this week to help you a little bit more, get more information. So what you're gonna do this week, and again, you can start with groups on this on Thursday. The only thing we're gonna do when we come in on Thursday is go over basically your in-class setting I've got for you to do. We're gonna go over that again and specifically focus on ISO. So I'll hammer away at it for maybe 5-10 minutes on Thursday when you guys come in. Then we'll let you work on your groups and you can head out and start working on this. A few more photos this time, 10 settings. And every time I say settings in here, I'm not talking about your camera, remember, on assignments. Settings mean where you're taking the picture at, where you're taking it at.
10 different places?
10 different places. Or it can be the same place, but different locations in that place, okay? 10 settings, 30 photos. Each setting, I want you to use 3 different ISO settings. Example, Cherry Valley Mall, Cherry Valley Mall, 80, 100, 300 will be an example. That's what you're going to use. So what you'll do is basically when you're finished, you will connect your computer at home via USB or card reader, import your photos, do it home or prior to coming to class next time. And in fact, this will be actually, you'll have till next Tuesday to do this. But
And we're importing them to our Flickr, right?
yes, correct. Yep. Yeah, I'll get to that. Rename your 30 photos to the naming convention below, which I'll go over in a second. Here's what the naming convention is going to be. Place, lighting, ISO setting, and JPEG, the extension. So abbreviation for lighting is sunny's S, cloudy C, indoor bright IB, indoor dark ID. Example, say you took some mall pictures and you took a mall indoor bright at 200, it'd be mall IB 200.jpg. The contact sheet part, we're actually going to do this in class next Tuesday, the contact sheet. So where it says here, we'll do this in class next Tuesday. And then you will be printing out the contact sheet in here. And we're going to, I'm actually going to have you circle them on your monitor. You're going to submit them to me. I'm not going to print them out. I'll show you how you can circle them using Picasa on these computers in here. And then submit it below. As far as your Flickr account goes, somebody already mentioned it's not in these instructions. I do want you to, as always, upload your pictures in week 4 set. Okay, the one thing that's different this week is, though, with your take home, is you'll note I'm not having you put a URL below. Because what I'm grading actually this week, which actually next week when you turn it in, but it's due next week, is when you come in next Tuesday, you'll bring in all your photos on a USB drive, you'll create your contact sheet in class. I'll have you circle one photo from each one of the 10 settings. And so basically, you're going to have 30 photos, 10 settings. You're going to circle one from each. So you should have 10 circles.